Just Fat Man from the Holler. You know, I do like Joel Osteen, Reverend Joel Osteen, and I seen that lady came in there with a gun. She shot and injured some guy. She got killed, and that kid initially got shot. I guess it's probably her kid. You know what? Back when I was a kid, and this was like 96, 97 when I was going to high school, maybe a little hair bit later, I told them teachers and principals, if you don't stop letting bullying happen, one of these days something bad's going to happen. So people are probably going to get hurt, if not killed. I left school. I come back for the second semester, and then I got pulled into the office, and they said, how'd you know it was going to happen? Was you part of it? Blah, blah, blah. Try to stick the cops on me. Well, guess what? Wasn't part of it, and I'm really, really going to put it out there just for the government and all these people that's all saying that guns are committing the crimes. I come from Columbia, Missouri, and you can look up just something simple, just food for thought. It is a terrible act. An African-American guy went into a Casey's, which would be in Ballinger Lane in Columbia, Missouri, in the 80s with a hammer, and he killed the clerks and a handicapped guy and an elderly woman with a hammer. And they closed the store for over 20 years, and now some guys from like Jordan or Syria, they own the store, and it's a liquor store now. But moral of that story is this: if people have the initiative to kill somebody, they can do it with anything. They can do it with the stick, they can do it with the rock, they can do it with the brick, they can do it with a hammer or a gun. And a lot of people want to blame guns for all this violence. You need to really America really needs to start waking up and start addressing this problem. And we can play the criminal game, you can play all the scenarios and narratives you want. But here's a simple example. You have Richard Ramirez, who was a night stalker in California a long time ago. He was a serial killer, and he was breaking and killing women and molesting them and all kinds of sick shit like that, of that nature. Well, guess what? When the media starts reporting about these scumbags doing something like that, what they're doing is they're creating copycats. All these stupid shootings, all these people think it's some kind of game because they're in a mental epidemic in the world. We're in a mental epidemic, and everybody thinks they're going to be famous for 5 seconds. They go shoot a bunch of innocent people. Guess what? It's going to come to a time, if somebody don't step up, everybody's going to go to homeschool. You ain't going to be able to go to church. Everything has to be locked down because of a few idiots. You know, and this is advisement to the government. If it was my family that was gunned down, guess what? Will by way, the person that did that shit to my family, gunned them down, I wouldn't care if they was in court. I wouldn't care if they was in prison. One way or the other, they would have to go. Because number one, the reason that is said is because in any kind of criminal situation where somebody's murdered or harmed, you get to be the victim, number one, of the crime that it happens. Then number two, you get to be a victim once more, because then you're going to pay taxes, and it's not directly you're paying for them, but your percentage of taxes is for housing, feeding, and giving them water and medical and clothing to the convicts that initially did a heinous crime to you, so you get to be a victim twice. Once the act, the second time of wasting your tax dollars on it. And as far as these mass shooters, terrorists, rapists, child molesters, people who kill handicapped people, children, and women, and the elderly, I got a cure for it. And it's the worst of the worst. And some will cry, how can you play God? Guess what? I raise chickens. Raccoon comes and kills chickens. I'm not going to guess the raccoon's going to kill more of my chickens once I start seeing the raccoon come in and I don't do nothing, and it takes one out, it takes the next one out, and so forth. It's the same thing like a dog. Guess what? A dog that kills chickens, it's never going to stop. Because once it does, it'll just keep coming back and keep coming back. And if it knows where chickens are, it won't stop. I had a black lab like that. I raised to be a hunting dog. I let him loose to go out and kill raccoons and possums and foxes and crap of that nature that may go after my poultry. Well, my pond was low since Missouri was in this sick drought we're in. So my dog jumps in the pond and it's raining, and I grabbed my gun because I thought I might have to put my dog down. Well, he jumps in the pond, he kills my ducks. Okay, and I go inside and I'm thinking about it hardcore. What am I going to do? Am I going to? I was like, I could guess if it has to be that way, the Ducks wouldn't go in. It's their own fault. So I let it go, and I went inside. After I slipped and fell, my shoe fell off in the rain, and hurt my hip pretty bad. And then I watched him hide under my pickup truck and jump out and start taking out my chickens, because my chickens didn't like going in to the chicken coop at the time, because I had groundhogs that was going in and stealing the eggs, and then I had that, and then raccoons lingering around, so the chickens started sleeping in trees. Well, anyway, the dog's picking them off, and I watched him do it. I come outside and I was like, I'll let all this go. I'll give him the benefit of a doubt. He's going to get better, and I was going to put him on a chain. He grabs a baby chicken that was not even merely 4 to 5 inches tall. He grabs it, he injures it, and I screamed at him, what in the fuck are you doing? He lets it go, and then he just looks at me, and then I go inside, and I can see on my surveillance camera, he's doing it again. I grabbed my 10-22 Ruger, I walked out. I had only one shot to make, and only one choice to make. Am I going to let the few chickens I have live, or am I going to kill him? I had 2 trucks in the way. He was in the middle. It was a tricky shot. I made a choice. I put a bullet straight through his chest. I never found his body, but it's pretty simple. He's dead. The rest of my animals lived, because there's choices to be made. And the progressive snowflakes and the liberals and the weaklings and the people that's not prepared to deal with this shit. I come from the demolition man era, where it takes a cycle to catch a cycle, and the moral of that story is, when there's people doing bad shit, sometimes you need people that can do bad shit on the right side of the law. So the whole world can cry all they want, and all these podcasts can pump out all this toxic, manipulative, Joe Biden, Obama, coattail riding garbage, and the Brady laws and all this bullshit. It ain't guns that's bad. Humans have killed each other for tens of thousands of years, all the way back to Neanderthals. Reality is evolution of nature. Other creatures, survival of the fittest. Nature kills each other, and they don't have to use guns. Guess what? Simple example: the woodpecker goes to the tree and eats thousands of ants. Who's there to make the woodpecker stop eating the ants? No one. No one's coming to save the ants. So if you can understand the mentality of what I'm getting at, hit like and subscribe. If it offends you, I'm sorry, but it's just a view. It's my view. It's not an argument. It's a perception and observation. When something bad's happening, you intervene. Well, and here's another one. They keep talking about these stupid shootings, and here's the worst part of this that pisses me off. I can go to a Walmart or any gun store in America, sporting goods or anywhere that sells ammunition or firearms, a box of 22 long rifle bullets is $30 to $40 for $550, which used to be $5 to $10 back when I was a teenager, when I rabbit hunted, squirrel hunted all the time. Guess what? That said, 223 ammo, you can buy 100 rounds of it for $30. You can buy vast amounts of 9mm ammo. You can buy all ammo that's actually killing ammo. The ammo that's actually used to kill. And a lot of people don't use certain calibers to hunt animals, like 223, 9mm, stuff of that nature. 100% understand that. There's people like me who use a 45 ACP as a sidearm in deer season, and I'm carrying it in my holster when I'm walking across the field with my rifle, because if I see a deer coming and I don't have time to put bullets in my gun, because when I walk across the field, I don't have bullets in a gun. It's just my safety standard and my way. I'll use my sidearm, and that's that. I mean, it's a little bit of conscious thinking going on, and the whole world wants to be so offended every time this happens. And I'm not saying that people has been victimized or targeted or lost children or family members. I'm not saying that any of that part's good, but there's proactive measures that can be taken. If you go buy firearms, they made all these stupid laws. You got to wait 3 days. You got to wait 7 days. You got to do this and that for handguns and rifles. How about, since we live in a country of mental illness and a world mental epidemic, okay, you want to buy firearms. You go take a test. You go take an assessment. It costs $100 for the permit to actually be able to purchase firearms. It's great for the government because the ATF knows who's buying guns and where they're going. And it also tells the person's mentality. If the person does something stupid with the gun, they're automatically going to be convicted for 5 to 10 years in prison. You eliminate bullshit by going right to the bull, grabbing it right by its horn. Because if you watch the matadors and the people over in Spain, and even all the way back to the Romans fighting the Colosseum, fighting lions, they had swords. And guess what? The people in Spain, it's an act. Where it's an act that's actually potentially could kill them, but they'll do their dancing around with the bull, and then they'll take their sword and stick it through the bull's heart, then they'll eat the bull. It's just the way it is. The whole world don't want to take responsibility. The government don't want to take responsibility for not being able to protect and serve. They're more corporate power being us to be corporate capitalism, where we're more worried about making money than human beings' well-being. And the whole thing with Texas and another category of guns, okay, you got Texas wanting to rebel, secede like in the Civil War. If we did not learn this in civics class and to take all the Confederacy stuff down, it's all racist and bigotry because it's blacks. Well, the African Americans, it's all about slavery. No, it's not. Your own people sold your own people to a different race of people. It's fucking human trafficking. When you break facts, you break bad, you get to the bad. Guess what? When I have a situation that's bad, I don't stand on fucking thin ice, and I don't care if the water's cold and I'm gonna freeze. I go all in to go directly after the problem with no hesitation. It's like Bin Laden. Okay, he's blowing people up. He's helped fucking supposedly plan 9/11 for the conspiracy theorists. Maybe it was pre-planned to get rid of all their bad data and all their shit and all the people they owed money to just to screw that up in the stock market and make a little better way of surveillance system upon the citizens. That's why there's Freedom Acts and shit. But besides all the conspiracy and all the mucked up bullshit, guess what? When you have a problem, you target the problem. You don't go to the bull's ass and try to grab it by its tail, because it's probably going to slip away and gore you and run his fucking horn through your chest and kill you. Cussing, bad, right? Okay. I'm not going to say explanation mark. Who does that? Most people cuss. Explanation mark is putting a strong feeling as expression. But we're going to break bad all the time, because this is what I do. And I know some people will understand it. The weaker people that rather bow down to cowards, liars, and thieves, they'll bow down to it and they'll unsubscribe to me and they'll leave me trashy feedback. And that's fine. This is not an argument. This is a real thing, and it's my perception and my observation. If I have a problem, I work directly of ending that problem. And we're taught in schools, go take the problem, go backwards and show your work. Bullshit. Go straight to the problem. Go straight to the problem. You can show your work, but you work from the problem backwards what led to the problem. That's how you change sequence of events. If a firearm causes a problem, guess what? Figure the real problem out. The real problem is the fucking media promoting these stupid copycat criminals. The ammunition for these guns is too cheap. It's too availability for people to get it. Mental assessment test. The government gets money from it. It shuts the shit down. Guess what? Because 410 ammo, stupid high. 22 ammo, stupid high. You know, a lot of us hunters, we're paying the repercussions of these stupid fucks. So why do we have to suffer because some stupid fuck wants to go kill a bunch of innocent people because they're mentally fucking deranged? Why do we suffer? Because our government fucking allows us to suffer. You know, you put placement and emphasis where the problem comes from. And this whole Texas thing, we learn in the Civil War that, guess what? If you don't address the first problem, what's coming next is going to be worse. Guess what? The first Civil War is about the Democrats didn't want to get rid of slavery and the Republicans didn't care. That's not taught in school. It's 100% facts. I have family books that shows the fucking facts, and there's no crybaby in that. But guess what? Second Civil War is called civil unrest, when the government can no longer protect its citizens or uphold the freedoms or rights. Then you have civil unrest. Then you got Kim Jong-un. He's over popping off his little stupid fat square-headed mouth. And then you got piss poor Putin over. And then you got Xpeng, and Xpeng is a lesser degree. China's always had their dynasty because it's the Ming dynasty for over 3,000 years. He's a predecessor into that, and he's probably family to that. So there's that. But China has always not been a strong nation, even though they had the 3,000 years of ruling, the Ming Dynasty, the Han Dynasty. Check this one out. They actually got scared of somebody. You know who that was? The Mongolians. They built a fucking wall to keep them out. Kind of like Trump trying to build a wall against Mexico. Because guess what? People don't build walls because they're strong. They build walls because they're scared. And that's just simple facts. And if you like the video, hit like and subscribe. If it hurts your feelings, I'm sorry. But we need to waken up as a people if we're going to do anything positive to put a positive spin on this bullshit. Number one, mental illness. Mental illness. The epidemic of the world. Because you get rid of that, that shuts down the prisons. Instead of having prisons for some of the lesser criminals, for like drug and substance abuse, mental hospitals. Deal with their mental status. I've actually talked to the correction department of the state of Missouri, all the way from Jeff City penitentiaries, all the way to the people who work in them. And I asked a lady who worked in the infirmary, why don't we deal with the mental epidemic of the mental part of what puts these people there? Because she said it costs too much money. So what was that answer? And that answer was not dictated by one person. It was over 50 to 60 different folks that I emailed and talked to independently on the phone and in person. So I'm crazy as I be, but guess what? I'm not a little fancy podcast, but I'm going to get down and deep into the truth. I don't kiss ass, and I don't take narratives, and I just think if the world's going to change, guess what? If I have to die to make it happen, so fucking be it. Much love, and I'm out.